in altitude for optimal drop trajectory. Over.
Godspeed, Enola Gay. Command out.
The Doomsday Key and the beginning of hell. In the blink of an eye, two cities vanished from the face of the earth. Hiroshima and Nagasaki, once proud monuments of human civilization, were reduced to lifeless wastelands, where shadows burned into concrete stood as haunting reminders of life. The United States, wielding the world's first nuclear weapons, turned the tide of World War II, but simultaneously opened the gates of hell for all of humanity. This was no longer just warfare. It was about holding the power of life and death over the entire planet. The atomic bomb wasn't merely a weapon. It was a chilling announcement that mankind now possessed the means to erase itself. As mushroom clouds billowed into the heavens, a sinister realization spread across the globe. Whoever controlled the nuclear formula held the ultimate authority. With this apocalyptic power, deterrence became the new language of diplomacy, and nuclear arsenals became both shields for the weak and scepters for the powerful. Yet behind the sterile statistics of global armament lies a question that continues to haunt history. How did these nations unlock the secrets of the atom? Today, 10 countries officially possess nuclear weapons, each with a story steeped in ambition, betrayal, and reckless defiance. Beneath the surface, their journeys were fueled by espionage networks, stolen blueprints, and audacious moves in the shadows. Some fought for survival, others for dominance, and a few merely to ensure they could never again be dictated to by outside powers. This saga does not begin in a laboratory but in fear. Fear of enemies, fear of annihilation, fear of being left defenseless in a world where one decision could hurl civilization back into the Stone Age. And thus began the global nuclear arms race, a high-stakes gamble where the cost of failure was total annihilation and the prize was unchallenged supremacy. Nazi Germany, Einstein, and the Manhattan Project. The story of nuclear weapons begins in 1938 with a discovery that would forever alter human history. German scientists first observed nuclear fission, the splitting of an atom's nucleus, to release unimaginable energy in a chain reaction. In the shadow of Nazi Germany's rise, this revelation sent shockwaves through the global scientific community. The possibility of Adolf Hitler wielding an atomic bomb was not a distant nightmare, but a rapidly approaching threat. Albert Einstein, a Jewish scientist who fled Germany to escape Nazi persecution, became a reluctant catalyst for the nuclear age. Alongside physicist Leo Szilard, Einstein penned a letter to U.S. President Franklin D. Roosevelt. That letter warned of Germany's potential to build a superweapon capable of enslaving the world. This chilling message spurred the creation of the Manhattan Project, America's top-secret nuclear weapons program. What followed was a whirlwind of scientific genius, clandestine alliances, and political urgency. The United States, Britain, and Canada pooled their resources to build a weapon that could end the war, but might also end humanity. Scientists labored in remote deserts and guarded facilities, racing against time to unlock the destructive secrets of the atom. In May 1945, the Manhattan Project succeeded. The United States became the first nation to hold the key to apocalyptic power. Yet even in triumph, the seeds of a global arms race were sown. While Allied leaders gathered at Potsdam to shape post-war Europe's future president, Harry Truman casually informed Joseph Stalin about America's new weapon. Stalin, however, was no stranger to secrets. Soviet intelligence had already infiltrated the Manhattan Project and fed critical information back to Moscow. But this was only the beginning. The atomic bomb had been born, but the race for nuclear dominance had barely begun. The question now wasn't if others would follow, but how fast they could catch up. The Soviet Union and the spies in the shadows. The Soviet Union had no intention of letting America dominate the nuclear landscape. Even before the bombs fell on Japan, Moscow suspected Western powers were secretly working on a doomsday weapon. Soviet scientists, under orders from Stalin, began their own nuclear program in 1941. But progress was slow. Desperate to close the gap, Stalin turned to espionage. Soviet agents penetrated the Manhattan Project, siphoning off blueprints, technical data, and critical insights. Men like Klaus Fuchs, a German-born physicist, became double agents, smuggling secrets to the Kremlin. Yet Stalin, ever the paranoid strategist, refused to trust even his own spies completely. He feared the Americans might have fed them false designs as a trap. To hedge his bets, Stalin ordered a dual approach. It combined stolen intelligence with independent research. Captured German scientists were conscripted to verify American data and assist Soviet teams in their own designs. The strategy worked. In August 1949, the Soviet Union stunned the world by detonating its first atomic bomb, codenamed RDS-1, at the Semipalatinsk test site in Kazakhstan. The mushroom cloud over the Kazakh steppe signaled the end of America's nuclear monopoly. Washington was horrified. How had Moscow caught up so fast? This was not just a scientific triumph. It was a geopolitical earthquake. The Cold War's stakes skyrocketed overnight. Two superpowers now stood locked in a deadly embrace, each holding weapons capable of destroying the other and the world with a single strike. The nuclear genie was out of the bottle and there was no putting it back. Britain, the betrayed ally. Britain had been a pioneer in nuclear research even before America. In 1940, British scientists launched their own program, codenamed tube alloys, to explore atomic energy's military potential. However, wartime resource constraints forced Britain to merge efforts with the U.S. under the Manhattan Project. This partnership was built on trust, or so London thought. In 1943, the Quebec Agreement formalized U.S.-UK collaboration on nuclear weapons with a clause forbidding either country from using the bomb against the other or sharing the technology with third parties without mutual consent. But in 1945, America abruptly severed cooperation. With its bomb successfully tested, Washington saw no need to honor the pact. Britain, stunned and betrayed, realized it had been cut out of the nuclear club it helped create. Refusing to remain dependent, Britain revived its independent program. Leveraging its control over significant global uranium supplies, British scientists worked feverishly to catch up. In 1952, they succeeded. Operation Hurricane saw Britain detonate its first atomic bomb off the coast of Australia, making it the world's third nuclear power. For London, the bomb wasn't just a weapon. It was the ultimate insurance policy against future betrayals, even from allies. China, a leap beyond expectations. Initially, China's nuclear ambitions relied on Soviet assistance, but ideological rifts between Mao Zedong and Nikita Khrushchev led Moscow to withdraw support, leaving Beijing isolated. Rather than falter, Mao doubled down. In the midst of domestic turmoil, including the Cultural Revolution, China funneled resources into its nuclear program. Discovery of large domestic uranium deposits provided the raw material needed for self-reliance. In 1964, China shocked the world by detonating its first atomic bomb in Lop Nor. Even more astonishing, just 32 months later, China successfully tested a thermonuclear bomb. This record-setting pace astounded Western analysts. Despite its technological infancy, China had achieved what many thought impossible, vaulting from zero to hydrogen bomb mastery in record time. Israel, the calculated ambiguity. Israel's nuclear program remains cloaked in secrecy. Unlike other nations, Israel has never confirmed nor denied possessing nuclear weapons. But evidence suggests otherwise. Starting in the 1950s, Israel partnered with France to build the Dimona nuclear facility in the Negev desert. U.S. President John F. Kennedy demanded inspections to ensure Dimona's civilian focus, but Israeli officials cleverly staged visits that concealed hidden underground chambers, allegedly where weapons development took place. By the late 1960s, it's believed Israel had completed its first nuclear warheads. This policy of strategic ambiguity allowed Israel to deter adversaries without provoking open confrontation. India, the smiling Buddha, and the dangerous game. India's nuclear journey began in the 1940s, but gained urgency after its 1962 border war defeat to China. Initially focusing on civilian nuclear energy, India covertly developed weapons capability using Canadian-supplied reactors. In 1974, India conducted its first nuclear test, codenamed Smiling Buddha, in the Rajasthan desert. Officially described as a peaceful nuclear explosion, the test drew international condemnation. By refusing to sign the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty (NPT), India signaled its determination to chart an independent course. Yet internal debates kept its nuclear arsenal limited for decades, delaying full weaponization until the 1990s. Pakistan and South Varag, an expanding nuclear map. Pakistan's nuclear pursuit was fueled by rivalry with India. After India's 1974 test, Pakistani Prime Minister Zulfikar Ali Bhutto famously declared, "We will eat grass, but we will build the bomb." With covert Chinese assistance and Abdul Qadir Khan's stolen enrichment technology from Europe, Pakistan succeeded. In 1998, it conducted 5 nuclear tests in response to India's. South Africa presents a unique case. Blessed with rich uranium deposits, Pretoria secretly built 6 atomic bombs during the apartheid era. Yet in a historic move, South Africa voluntarily dismantled its arsenal in the early 1990s, becoming the only country to do so. North Korea and the looming 11th shadow. North Korea's nuclear program is rooted in regime survival. Initially aided by the Soviet Union for civilian energy, Pyongyang shifted to weapons development after international isolation. Despite signing the NPT, North Korea withdrew in 2002 under U.S. pressure. In 2006, the regime detonated its first atomic bomb, later escalating to thermonuclear devices. Each test sent tremors through East Asia, leaving the world grappling with an unpredictable nuclear-armed state. Today, the club of nuclear powers numbers 10. But ambitions simmer worldwide. Iran, Japan, and even Brazil have flirted with the threshold. The question remains, who will become the 11th nation to hold the doomsday key? And when they do, will humanity still have time to react?